All right, so bright and early, 7 a.m. Normally we would go to the gym at like 5:30 a.m. or wake up at 5:30 a.m. go to the gym by like 5:45, and then get back and I'll take my boarding train out and that will take our dogs out. And so I'm about to go and take Draco out for his first morning walk. I usually do about a mile, which is about 20-25 minutes, just depending. And then come back, relax a little bit, do a lesson. For this first lesson, I'm going to be charging my clicker. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So that way later today, I can start to condition the e-collar. I typically like to spend about 3 days conditioning the e-collar before I start using it for any sort of corrections or anything like that. I just want the dog to understand what it means. So he'll start wearing it. That is a part of my conditioning process, is for the dog to first start wearing it. Super cold outside. It's like 28 degrees, I think. And there's like frost everywhere. I'm looking out, so I gotta dress up warm. So I'm gonna go get this walk in, come back, take our dogs out, clean the house, get ready for the day, and then I think I have a loose leash walking lesson later this afternoon that we're going to film. Okay, so the walk is complete, and for my boarding trains, every time that I get back from a walk, we're going to do our first lesson. We kind of sit and decompress just because after physical exercise, I don't want to be feeding them food. But for this next part, I'm going to be loading my clicker. So I'm going to be doing that. It's about 7:46 right now. And so the next thing on my list is that I need to go and take my personal dogs out. Our schedule is like a little bit wonky today just because we went to a movie last night, so I didn't go to the gym this morning, and neither did Matt, or else normally I wouldn't be taking my dogs out. Next would be cleaning the house and then taking a shower, doing another lesson, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna do a quick lesson with him, gonna take my dogs out, and then adhere to the schedule from there. But yep, that's about it. That's where the learning happens, is like when there isn't anything on the leash. If you're all the way out here all the time, then it's always gonna constantly be tight. And that's how people use it incorrectly. They just like put it onto their dogs and are like, yep, this is gonna teach them to just walk right here on the left-hand side. And it's like, no, like all that stuff that I explained about active and passive releases and like all that different kind of stuff, you have to start shaping the 6-foot radius to only be just right here. So it's probably gonna take like, we'll see if he's compliant or non-compliant. It usually takes about 10 to 20 minutes. So we'll see how it goes. But go ahead and walk him, and then we can go from here. That's the other thing that I'll say with teaching your dog to walk on a leash, is that you have very specific times that you let them go to the bathroom. So you don't always have to wait for like forever.
Literally.
Yeah. I can already tell right now, you guys let him say hi to so many people, don't you?
Well, we try to avoid it.
Wants to say hi.
Yeah.
Like, can we pet you?
Yeah.
One person followed us. We tried to get away from them, and they were like, "Come on," and we like had to turn. It was like we were trying to lose.
People will stop their car and like,
Yeah.
But
He is pretty cute. He's choking himself out, but this is something called learned helplessness. He doesn't know that there's a better way. And so he's like, this is how walks go. I just choke myself and I'm 100% out of breath to get to what I want.
Funny, because he doesn't do that at home usually. Like, he's not like running.
but he still does it.
But yeah, he's definitely not a good walker at all.
Okay, so
bad.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing my crazy walking and stuff, and you guys are just going to be helplessly by the sidelines as your precious child struggles through this. So, Matt, I hope you're not filming it. So, yeah, be prepared for some struggle. If you've never seen your dog struggle, he's going to be like, what is this? But we shall see. And then from there, as soon as I start to kind of get an understanding from him, I'm gonna give the leash over to you guys, so that way we can just go from there. Good. Oh, he's a biter. He's a leash biter. All right, you guys, I hate to break it to you, but you have a non-compliant dog. So a couple of things that he tells me with his whining and then wanting to bite on the leash is that I need to take this really slow. He doesn't handle pressure well. He's like, no, don't make me do this. How dare you? And so I'm just gonna go, hey, all I want you to do is just follow me. That's all. I'm not even asking for a strict heel. All I want you to do is when I go in the other direction, just come with me in that direction. That's it. We just give a break from like all the pressure and stuff like that. Kind of want to just see what he does. Is he gonna start hanging out around me? Is he still gonna want to go away? Because that's gonna tell me what more I need to work on. So he's starting to get the picture that he needs to hang out next to me. More follower, more follower. Starts to go ahead, and I just say, oh, I lost my keys over here. We gotta go. Follower, follower, follower. See how I didn't continue and he stopped? So he knows he's supposed to stay with me. This is what he's telling me right now with his body language. He's like, I know, but this is where he's like, I'm not going to. It's like that indignant child of like, no, you can't make me, right? But I will annoy you until you come with me. So now I start to speed it up. He's starting to kind of get more into that follower mode. So now, good. So what I'm looking for is when I start to turn, that he's starting to turn with me, and I don't need to give him that communication. Now I'm gonna make my back and forths tighter. Nope, we're gonna keep going. One of the things that I'll probably say over and over again is that with your walk, you never stop. You don't ever stop. You never quit moving. Dogs are all about body language. And the minute you stop moving because they're interested in something, you just gave power to whatever it is that they're interested in. This is my hey instead of my, hey, come here, come here, come here, come here. It's, hey, let's go, come on. All right, we are cleaning it up nicely. Now I'm gonna start using left turns to start using my spatial or my body pressure to let him know that he's not in the correct spot. I think that that's gonna be your guys' hardest pitfall is other dogs. Notice the pretty much essentially the same equivalent of 3-year-old in the grocery store aisle. I want that piece of candy. Why can I have that piece of candy? Do you kind of see what I'm doing? I'm having him follow me, and anytime that he gets distracted, I'm just bringing him back to me. So now I've stopped walking. What does he do? Why? Because I'm not going anywhere. He's like, I don't know what to do. You're the one who's telling me where to go, right? Like, this is what I'm looking for. Better state of mind, not woo, 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 woo. Better state of mind. So I'm going to reward. Very good, bud. And now, notice I haven't said anything to him, right? Now I know he has an understanding. It's not until this point, 20 minutes later, doing all of that crazy shit, that I'm finally going to do this. Heel. You don't name it until you love it. I started to love it, now I'm gonna name it. Heel. Good. Good, remember? Continue to do the thing you're doing. Does that mean much to him right now? No, it doesn't mean jack shit, but he can start getting used to what it sounds like. Heel. I like to say heel when I'm starting to change direction because I know where I'm going. The dog doesn't know where I'm going. I'm being courteous to him to let him know something's about to happen, pay attention with me. Heel. And if he didn't turn around once I said it, I gave him that second to show me that he was gonna respond. He didn't, so I said, hey, come on, let's go. Here's also a really good example of what I'm about to do. I'm gonna start incorporating my no. The no is when you are incorporating in as a correctional, you cannot load this marker. So if you've ever heard of like loading your clicker, loading your verbal markers, you cannot load your correctional marker. It's not fair. You can't just say, no, bam, to your dog. Like, no, like you just don't do that. But in the moment of him seeing that dog, if I said heel, Good. He did it, so I didn't do it. But if he were not to comply to my heel, then I would say no, then I give him a pop on the leash, and I would say heel, and I would say it again. Remember, it's don't do this, do this. Always give direction. Clarity. Clarity. Come on. No. 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 Good. Heel. So, classical conditioning. A signal happens, and 1 second later, something of value of important happens. It's not no and pop on the leash. It is no, 1 second later, pop on the leash. It gives value to that signal. Heel. No. Heel. Good. Questions so far? No? Okay. Because you guys are about to be next. So, the really important thing is to have good leash management. Remember, 90% of the information is passed from us down to our dog, right? 5% of that leftover 10 is going to be our verbal markers, and then the pressure and release that happens. Yep. You have the leash with you, so that's when I would have guided him off to be able to do that, right? So leash management. Our dog is going to heel on our left side. That's where we want them to be. So when you have your dog, you optimally always want to have this J shape in your leash. He's pretty small and to the ground, but you always want to have this slack in your leash. For smaller dogs, it doesn't have to be really big. Like for example, with Atlas, like there's quite a bit of leash, but with smaller dogs, since they're already low to the ground, what you always want to look for is to be able to have this metal part at least pointing down to the ground. If it's up like this, tension is starting to be built, right? And tension is our communication system. So we want to have that at least pointing down, and if we can have some more slack, that's optimally what we want to do, because through here we're able to communicate. If it's taut like this, there's no communication going through that, right? But this is how our communication opportunity. So that's what we want for our dogs there. So the next thing is, what do you do with the rest of all of this? So there's a couple of different ways that you can hold your leash. You don't have a rambunctious dog. So for people that have rambunctious dogs, I usually recommend that you put this through your thumb right here, you put it right here, and then you grasp just like this, because that leash is not going anywhere. So if you ever have to hold a rambunctious dog, this is the way to do it, okay? So just like that. But with your little small guy, you can actually probably get away with just having this through your wrist like this and holding it here. Or you can, yeah, I think most people do it kind of like this, but then you kind of have all of this slack right here. So I just take it like this, and I just take all of the slack like that. Now, the most important part of what happens is what is going on with your left hand. This is your communication hand that goes to your dog. So I'm gonna turn around and face the other way, so that way you guys can kind of mimic it with your body. So you guys are like this. You have the leash right here, and you have the leash here. What happens with this hand is really important. So the leash feeds through this hand like this, and it comes out the back just like that, right? So it goes that way. And so when you're walking, it should just be you're giving a thumbs up to your dog. The leash is coming out the back of your hand like this, and you're walking like this, right? And you don't want a lot of slack. Right here, if my dog was walking with me, I can just simply give a little wrist just like this to be able to pop through the prong collar and just be like, hey, you need to move back a little bit. If you have too much slack, what ends up happening is, hey bud, don't go over there. Where's my 1.3 seconds and my clear communication for my motivation? And it's gone, right? Okay, so you want to make sure that you have just a little bit to have that J and that slack, but not too much that you have to swing your arm back all the way like this to give communication to your dog. So since he's little, he's pretty tiny, one of the things that you guys will probably end up doing is either how you held it like that, or my preferred way of holding a leash is actually to loop it like this, and just hold it like that. So I'm still going to have my slack right here, but all of my leash is right here. So that's one of the ways that you can do it. But you just want to make sure that, for example, if something happens and I need to go the other way, that I can quickly just grab right here and the leash can unravel in my hand. So you could just, you know, kind of like, oh, just gonna grab the leash just like that, right? And it's like, okay. Or you could just have a short leash, but you just want to make sure that you have proper handling skills. Just the most important part is just what you're doing with this left hand, which is you are keeping it relaxed
I guarantee you, as you guys start to do this, everything's gonna start moving up. You guys are gonna start walking, you guys are going to be looking at Oliver, and you guys are gonna start going like this. You're gonna forget what this hand is doing, and you're like, oh my God, he's doing it, he's doing it. So just remember to try and keep thumbs below the waistline, right? So much is passed through the leash, so if you see something that's gonna be happening, like he is obviously really interested in dogs, so then you start to fiddle with it and you start to go, okay, so like dogs are coming, like I gotta be prepared. Like all of that tension is gonna get passed through your leash and into your dog. So you're always cool, calm, and collected, and no matter what you do, mom and dad is in charge because you are what? You're the leader. You are what? The leader. There we go. There we go. There we go. Awesome. Good job. Good direction with your left. Good job. How's that feel? Feels good. Feels good? More of an enjoyable walk with consistency, right? There we go, directional, I like it. Alrighty guys, so that's how you first start introducing leash pressure, utilizing the prong collar and some of the different exercises that you can take. It also goes to show that it can take sometimes even 20 minutes to start even forming the semblance of a loose leash walk. So take your time, ensure that your dog understands exactly what it is that you want, and have fun with it.
We just finished our first session with Natalie and the Canine Performance team. And man, it is just eye-opening what is possible in a short amount of time. Before we came here, Oliver was nearly walking us. He's so curious, he's so cute. Everyone wants to pet him, he's all over the place. But I think it was really interesting to see how we can very quickly and very easily get him to a place where he's following us and he's following along our lead versus vice versa, and really we're able to cultivate a healthy relationship with our little puppy. So it's been awesome, really appreciative for you guys, and looking forward to more sessions and more opportunities to really develop and strengthen that bond.
Okay, so just wrapped up a private training lesson with Bogdan and Kelly and their little doodle Oliver. Did a little bit of loose leash walking, all that good stuff. Super great session. So now I'm going to get back to training with Mr. Draco here, and all that I'm going to be doing is continuing to charge my clicker, so that way he understands that the clicker means that food is going to be coming, and then also shaping for the elevated dog bed or the climb command. So here we go. Okay, so it is the last meal of the day, and I am going to start working on the climb a little bit more, still working on those markers. So, I'll show you what that looks like. It is 8:10 right now, so we're going to do this lesson, and then we're going to go outside for a last potty, and then it's going to be time for bed. Tomorrow's going to be more with the prong collar to get him up onto the climb bed and just add more reliability into that, and just more understanding, because right now I'm just wanting him to get used to like getting up and on it. I kind of introduced the word a little bit, but tomorrow I'm going to be doing it where I'm going to have him sit, I'm going to introduce the word climb, use leash pressure, have him up on there, click, and then reward off of it. And then start going to build more duration onto that. But yeah, now it's time to go potty and call this a night.